Welcome to London, the River Thames, and 2,000 years of history. The Romans, Anglo-Saxons, and Normans all left their stamp on this ancient capital city. Tudor London watched Henry VIII and Elizabeth I take their place in the 1,000-year succession of English monarchs here, and the plays of William Shakespeare were performed in the Globe Theatre on the banks of the River Thames. London has survived the plague, the Great Fire in 1666, the Civil War, and the creation of the Mother of Parliaments at Westminster. Its castles, palaces, and cathedrals all bear witness to the rich heritage London has to offer visitors from around the world, and art galleries, museums, concert halls, and theatres ensure there is plenty to explore and entertain. The Royal Festival Hall, the London Eye or Millennium Wheel, and the London Dungeon are never short of visitors. The Eye is 443 feet in height. It has 32 capsules, but they're numbered 1 to 33. There is no number 13. Cecil Court is a small pedestrianised street which runs between Charing Cross Road and St Martin's Lane. It's a magnet for collectors of antiques and memorabilia, from books to prints, paintings to militaria, stamps, banknotes, and collectibles of every kind. Even Mozart paid a visit in 1769 as part of his grand tour of Europe. It was here between 1897 and 1915 that the early British film industry came into being. Waterloo Station is the busiest in the country, dealing with over 40 million passengers a year. It has more platforms than any other and is the largest in terms of floor area. It was the main terminus for Eurostar trains until they were transferred to St Pancras. Travelling south down Park Lane, we pass many of London's most desirable hotels for the rich and famous. Among them, the Dorchester and the Hilton Hotel, with its top-floor restaurant and famous views over London. Turning into Piccadilly, we come to the Athenaeum Hotel, with its garden growing up the side of the hotel. Burlington Arcade caters for wealthy tourists and those who don't have time to clean their shoes before going out in the morning. Fortnum & Mason, the royal grocer and provision merchant, was established in 1707. Since inventing the Scotch egg, it has moved on to provide groceries for kings and queens. Almost opposite is Burlington House and the Royal Academy of Arts, which houses exhibitions and displays, cafes, restaurants and shops. Piccadilly Circus is a focal point for those seeking shops, theatres and general entertainment in the West End, which are all close by. At its centre is the statue of Anteros, popularly known as Eros. London's main theatre district has some 40 theatres. Among the most famous are the Theatre Royal Haymarket, His Majesty's, and Drury Lane, which is the oldest theatre site dating from 1663. Close by is Covent Garden Royal Opera House, renowned for attracting world-famous singers and musicians to perform a varied operatic repertoire. The theatre also houses the Royal Ballet Company, founded in 1931. The Coliseum is the largest theatre in London, with 2,350 seats. The English National Opera has been housed there for a number of years. Admiral Nelson stands atop his 46-metre high column, commemorating his death at the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805. The Horse and Guardsman in Whitehall houses a magnificent painting of a full cavalry charge. Passing the Waldorf Hotel in Aldwych, we approach the Royal Courts of Justice, where litigants fight it out, but the lawyers always win. Travelling further east into the city, often referred to as the Square Mile, we are brought face to face with Sir Christopher Wren's masterpiece, St Paul's Cathedral. Funeral services for Admiral Lord Nelson, the Duke of Wellington and Winston Churchill were all held here. The Prince of Wales, now King Charles III, was married here to Lady Diana Spencer. At the installation of a new Lord Mayor of the city, a celebration dating back 800 years wends its way through the streets with a spectacular parade of all those who helped to build the reputation of this ancient and historic city. was in little passages and alleyways like these, where office workers now queue up for lunch, that the Great Fire of London took hold in 1666 and devastated so much of the old city. In the heart of the city, the Royal Exchange is opposite the Old Lady of Threadneedle Street, namely the Bank of England. Close by is the Mansion House, official residence of the Lord Mayor. London Bridge is dominated by the Shard, a 1,000-foot skyscraper. Looking east downriver, we see Tower Bridge, which is often confused with London Bridge. This area is a frequent turning point for many pleasure cruises back up the river to the West End. HMS Belfast, a light cruiser with 15 6-inch guns, is now permanently moored here as a floating museum. The ship was involved escorting Arctic convoys to Russia in the war and took part in Operation Overlord supporting the Normandy landings. In 1945, she was deployed to the Far East to join the British Pacific Fleet, where she saw further action in the Korean War. The oldest part of the Tower of London is the White Tower, which was built in 1066 by William the Conqueror. The tower is steeped in history and was built to help control the population of the city. It has served as a royal residence, a military stronghold, and a prison. Today it houses the crown jewels. St Catherine's Dock is London's only marina and is a busy waterside area with luxury homes, restaurants and shops. The site has a fascinating history and is close by the Tower of London. Every Friday, the dock hosts a famous food market. Meanwhile, back in the West End, it is a truth universally acknowledged that every town in Britain may well have a Chinese takeaway, but London has more of them. Trooping the Colour has marked the official birthday of the British sovereign for the last 260 years. Every June, 1,400 soldiers, 400 musicians and 200 horses parade before the monarch in a ceremonial display of military precision and horsemanship.